First question out of the gate, why are you running?
So I work part of the time I'm at home working. And a few months ago, I started working out of Sandy's Donuts because it smells delicious and they have unlimited coffee, so it's the perfect office. I would hear this group of guys who I came to call the League of Conservative Gentlemen. I don't know if you know this, but no one would probably call me a conservative. And so I would always hear them talking about politics every day, and I was like, oh man, these guys. And one time they were talking about sanctuary cities. And I have volunteered and worked for years in immigrant communities. I'm a fluent Spanish speaker. And they said some things that were just really incorrect. And so I felt the need that day. I couldn't stay quiet. I was going to say something. So I wrote them this note on a napkin that said, "Good morning, gentlemen. I just wanted to correct one thing that you said about sanctuary cities." And then I went and bought a donut gift card. And I gave them this napkin and the gift card. And I said, "These donuts are on us, or on me." And then I got so nervous that I kind of like started crying and ran away. And it was extremely embarrassing. And the next day when I went to go back to Sandy's, I was really nervous. I thought these guys are gonna think I'm crazy. And actually that day, one of them offered to refill my coffee. And then the next day, one of them said, "Oh no, she takes cream." And they would bring me a creamer with it. And now when I go in there, we talk all the time. And when I decided to run, they all signed my ballot petition. So that kind of inspired me to think that even when people don't agree, you can raise your voice. And as a social worker, and again, active in the immigrant community, I really want to help raise voices of people who maybe have been ignored before or don't feel like they can raise their voice because people aren't listening.
So what do you think the biggest challenges are that face the city right now?
Well, Grand Rapids is growing like crazy, we all know, and there's a lot of really exciting things happening. And in my ward, especially the Bridge Street area, the Leonard Street corridor, and the Granville Avenue corridor are seeing a lot of growth. And I want to make sure that as that growth is happening, the community's voices are being taken into consideration, that people who are running businesses there and have been there for years can continue to afford to do that, and that people who are living in those neighborhoods can continue to live in those neighborhoods, and that we're not pushing anyone out, that we can all grow together as one.
So how do you tackle that problem if elected?
There's a lot of things. I think the biggest thing that we can do is just physically bring these voices to the table. If we're having meetings about a new development in a neighborhood, I want to see those neighbors in the planning meetings. We don't need a separate meeting. We can have representatives of the neighborhood right in those meetings rather than just city officials and developers, who are also important parts of the process, of course. I think inclusive zoning is something we should be doing, which is including a certain percentage of affordable housing in any new developments. And as far as other policies, I would say the most important thing is getting those voices to the table. I'm not experiencing an affordable housing crisis. I'm doing all right. So I want to hear from people who are experiencing those crises and what do they think we should do.
City's putting $1 million towards affordable housing in the next year. How should they spend that money if you're on the commission?
Yeah, if I'm on the commission, again, inclusive zoning would involve subsidies. I think also we should be spending our money that when we're hiring contractors and such for new developments, we should be looking at contractors who support their workers, who pay a living wage, and who provide benefits, family leave, etc. And that can be a little bit more costly. It means that we wouldn't necessarily be taking the lowest bidder, and so we'll require more funds for that.
So when it comes to the big picture issues, do you think the things you just talked about are it, or are there other issues as well?
I think there's a couple other things. There's transportation policy. When I first started running, so many people said the bike lanes, that's the most important thing. I hate the bike lanes. And I was really surprised because when I moved to the west side, because it's beautiful, it's really economically diverse. You've got big houses, you've got little houses, it's really great, and you've got the bike lanes that go toward downtown. And so I said, why does everybody hate the bike lanes so much? So people who want to use them think that they're not continuous enough. And drivers, especially senior citizens, are afraid that they're going to hit a biker. They don't want to hurt someone. And so I'd like to look at ways that we can make the bike lanes usable for everyone by making them more continuous, and also looking at how we can get more people using them, because another problem is that when they put in the bike lanes, they took out a lane of traffic. And I support making us a less auto-centric city because there's just not going to be enough room for all these cars as we grow, especially parking downtown. But we need to find ways to get people using those bike lanes because otherwise there's too many cars on the road. I think looking farther down the road also at transportation policy, we all see that 131 is backed up like crazy now, and we need to look at how we can be flowing people in and out of the city farther down the road in a more efficient way. The other big topic in Grand Rapids right now, of course, is police and community relations. And I want to see safe neighborhoods through strong community and police partnerships. And I think, again, that the communities and the police are the experts on this, not me, and I want to hear what they have to say. But my suggestion to them would be increasing training for community policing, which would need more officers on foot, on bicycles, which takes resources because it obviously takes officers a little bit more time to do that. And I'd like to see some of the money that the city has set aside going to support officers who are doing those type of patrols and training for those officers.
Okay. Open mic time. You can look right in the camera and tell people why they should vote for you.
All right. Well, I would, let me think about that for a minute. And this is all public, right? Okay. I think you should vote for me because I want to be a voice for the community. I don't want to just be the voice, but I want to raise the voices of the people who are there. As a social worker, my life has been working in the community with people who have been marginalized, people who haven't been heard before. And if you have something to say to me, if you have an idea, please feel free to contact me. Vote at electchristinemullan.com. You can contact me anytime. I respond personally to it, and I really welcome the voice of the community because that's where I get my ideas. That's what I'll be doing when I'm on the commission.